How did a land rich in history and diversity become the epicenter of a conflict that has spanned over a century? This question has puzzled many, but to understand the enigma of the Israel-Palestine conflict, we need to look back and explore the historical and geographical significance of the region. Nestled in the heart of the Middle East, this land, often referred to as the Holy Land, has been the cradle of three of the world's major religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Each faith has left indelible marks, shaping the cultural and historical tapestry of the region. But this also makes the land a crucible of competing claims and narratives. The two central parties in this conflict are the Israelis and Palestinians. The Israelis are primarily Jewish people who view the land as their historical and biblical homeland. The Palestinians, composed mainly of Muslim Arabs, also lay claim to the same land, seeing it as the home of their ancestors. The land is not just a piece of territory, it's a symbol of identity, a testament of historical continuity, and a beacon of spiritual significance. For Jews, the Western Wall in Jerusalem is the last remnant of their ancient temple, a sacred place of prayer. For Christians, it's the land where Jesus Christ was born, lived, and was crucified. For Muslims, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, also in Jerusalem, is the third holiest site in Islam. These overlapping religious and historical narratives have contributed to the complexity of the conflict. It's a dispute not just over land, but over history, identity, and faith. And it's a conflict that has been shaped by the broader geopolitical context, with international players often influencing its course. The roots of this conflict are deeply entwined with the region's history, so let's delve into the timeline to understand how it all began. The Israel-Palestine conflict didn't happen overnight. It is a result of decades of political, religious, and territorial disputes. Let's take a step back to the late 19th century, where it all began with the birth of Zionism, a movement advocating for a Jewish homeland. Fast forward to 1917, when the famous Balfour Declaration laid the groundwork for such a homeland in Palestine, a region that was home to a majority Arab population. This already set the stage for contention. By the mid-20th century, after the horrors of the Holocaust, international sentiment favored the establishment of a Jewish state. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan, dividing the land into an Arab state and a Jewish one. However, this was met with resistance from the Arab nations. In 1948, Israel declared independence, which was met with immediate war from neighboring Arab states. This conflict, known as the Arab-Israeli War, resulted in an Israeli victory and an exodus of Palestinians from their homes, an event they call the Nakba, or catastrophe. The Six-Day War in 1967 was another turning point. Israel launched a preemptive strike against Egypt, Jordan, and Syria, and in just 6 days managed to capture the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, East Jerusalem, the Sinai Peninsula, and the Golan Heights. This only added fuel to the fire. Fast forward to the present day. The conflict continues, marked by intermittent periods of relative calm and outbreaks of violence, like the recent escalation in Gaza. The issues at stake are complex, involving not just land, but also the right of return for Palestinian refugees, the status of Jerusalem, and the security of Israel. This timeline reveals the complexity of the issue, with decades of negotiations, wars, and peace treaties shaping the present-day situation. It's clear that the Israel-Palestine conflict is a deeply rooted, multifaceted issue, with no easy solutions. With every milestone, we see how the past continues to shape the present and likely the future. The Israel-Palestine conflict isn't just a regional issue. It has, over the years, drawn in players from across the globe. Like a complex game of chess, this conflict has seen the involvement of numerous nations and international organizations, each with their own motivations and interests. The United Nations, a key player, has struggled to mediate peace, often being accused of bias by both sides. Yet it continues to work towards a solution, recognizing the importance of stability in the region for global peace. The United States plays a pivotal role, often acting as a mediator, a provider of aid, and Israel's staunchest ally. Meanwhile, the European Union has focused on humanitarian aid and diplomatic efforts while grappling with its own internal divisions over the issue. Russia, a significant player, maintains ties with both sides, positioning itself as a potential mediator, while China, rising as a global power, cautiously navigates the complicated waters of this conflict. On the other hand, the stance of Muslim countries is more nuanced. Many have historically supported Palestine and Hamas, the political organization governing Gaza. Yet in recent times, some, like the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, have normalized relations with Israel, a move seen as controversial by many. The international reactions to the conflict are as varied as the players involved. Condemnations, peace proposals, and diplomatic maneuvering are all part of the global response. The conflict has also had a profound impact on global politics, influencing alliances, foreign policies, and even domestic politics in countries far from the Middle East. The Israel-Palestine conflict is like a stone thrown into a pond. The ripples it creates extend far beyond its point of origin, touching shores in distant lands. It's a testament to how interconnected our world has become, how a local conflict can have global implications. While this conflict is local in nature, its ramifications are felt on the global stage. Indeed, the Israel-Palestine issue is a microcosm of the larger geopolitical landscape, a complex and ongoing story of power, politics, and people. Behind the politics and territorial disputes, there is a grim reality: the human cost of the conflict. The Israel-Palestine conflict, a struggle that spans generations, is not merely an abstract geopolitical issue. It's a tale of human lives, of losses and dreams shattered, of everyday life marred by fear and violence. The number of casualties on both sides is staggering. Thousands have been killed or injured in the decades-long conflict, and the toll continues to rise. In the heart of this turmoil, it's the innocent civilians who bear the brunt. Amidst the rubble of demolished buildings and the echoes of gunfire, everyday life takes on a different meaning. The markets that once buzzed with life and laughter now stand silent, punctuated only by the occasional sound of a siren or a distant explosion. Schools, once a sanctuary for learning and growth, now serve as shelters, their hallways echoing with the whispers of displaced families. Children, the future of the region, are growing up under the shadow of this conflict. Their innocent eyes have witnessed more violence and bloodshed than any child should. The trauma of living through such experiences has left indelible marks on their young minds, shaping a generation that knows of nothing but conflict. The situation is particularly dire in Gaza, where an ongoing humanitarian crisis worsens by the day. The blockade has led to severe shortages of food, water, and medical supplies. Power cuts are frequent, and the healthcare system is on the brink of collapse. The people of Gaza live in conditions that most of us can't even begin to imagine. Despite the grim circumstances, the spirit of resilience among the people is palpable. They continue to hope, to dream, to fight for a better tomorrow. But the cost is high, the scars are deep, and the path to peace seems elusive. The Israel-Palestine conflict is more than just a political or territorial issue. It's a human tragedy that continues to unfold. Understanding the Israel-Palestine conflict requires us to navigate a complex web of history, politics, and human suffering. We've journeyed through the historical backdrop, traced the timeline of events, and examined the role of international players. We've confronted the devastating human cost. This intricate puzzle is far from solved, and the path to peace is fraught with challenges. But remember, understanding is the first step towards resolution. Let's keep the conversation going and continue to seek understanding for a more peaceful tomorrow. Yeah.